You know, some companies sell products, but a rare few, they manage to sell an idea so powerful it actually changes culture itself. For over a century, one company did exactly that with a simple, shiny stone. This is the story of De Beers.
Go ahead, try it. That image that just popped into your head, the diamond as the ultimate symbol of love, of permanence, well, that wasn't an accident. It was carefully, brilliantly manufactured by one of the most successful marketing campaigns in history. And as we're about to see, the very empire built on the idea of forever is now facing its own end.
So how on earth did one company get so much power? Well, it all started with a pretty simple problem, actually. A sudden flood of a product whose entire value was based on being rare. I mean, just try to imagine the panic. For centuries, diamonds were treasures for kings and queens, their value tied directly to how rare they were. Then boom, in the 1870s, these gigantic deposits are found in South Africa. They could be mined by the ton. A financier named Cecil Rhodes understood this immediately. He knew it meant ruin for the diamond market, unless someone could control the flood. So in 1888, he formed De Beers to do just that, create a bottleneck, engineer scarcity, and keep prices sky high. It was a model later perfected by the Oppenheimer family, who turned the company into a full-blown global cartel. And you know what? Their plan worked. Boy, did it work. At its absolute peak, De Beers controlled a staggering 90% of the entire world's diamond supply. This wasn't just having a big market share. This was total, complete dominance. They basically became the central bank of diamonds. If a new mine was found somewhere or if demand dipped, they didn't let prices fall. Nope. They just bought up all the extra diamonds and locked them away in vaults, making sure the illusion of rarity stayed very, very real. They pulled this off by controlling every single step of the process. From the mines in Africa, every rough diamond was funneled through their one central selling organization, or CSO. From there, they went to the cutters, and over 90% of them were in one city, Surat, India. And then finally, out to jewelers all over the world. Every single stone's journey was a De Beers journey. But, controlling the supply wasn't enough. They needed to engineer the demand just as brilliantly. And their solution, cooked up by their ad agency in 1938, was a work of psychological genius. They just invented a social rule completely out of thin air. A man should spend 2 months' salary on an engagement ring. All of a sudden, the price wasn't just a price. It was a measurement of his love and commitment. And then came the 4 words that would seal the deal for 100 years. A diamond is forever. This was so much more than a slogan. It was a psychological anchor. It transformed a simple mineral into a powerful myth, a shiny rock into a symbol of eternal, unbreakable love. And that campaign was so effective that for generations, a diamond ring wasn't just an option, it was the only option. So for decades, this empire looked absolutely untouchable. But the artificial scarcity that De Beers had so carefully built was about to be completely undone by another kind of artificial invention. The whole game was about to change. Now, this threat didn't just appear overnight. It actually started as a scientific curiosity in a GE lab way back in 1954. They made these tiny industrial-grade diamonds. For decades, they were no threat to De Beers at all. But the technology just kept getting better. By the 2000s, a breakthrough called chemical vapor deposition meant scientists could literally grow perfect gem-quality diamonds in a lab. And by the 2010s, that process could be scaled up for mass production. What started as a lab experiment was now a commercial weapon. The economic impact was just seismic. As mass production kicked into high gear, the price of lab-grown diamonds just fell off a cliff. A 1-carat stone that would have cost you over $5,000 in 2016 was down to just $1,300 by 2024. All while mine diamond prices stayed high. For the very first time, people had a real affordable choice. And here's the really smart part. The lab-grown industry didn't just compete on price. They competed on the story. While De Beers was selling this story of timeless rarity from the earth, lab-grown diamonds offered this completely different, compelling narrative. They're chemically identical, they look just as beautiful, but they're also ethical, eco-friendly, and a whole lot cheaper. It was a direct attack on the entire De Beers mythos. And did this news story work? Oh, you better believe it. By 2023, nearly half, we're talking 49%, of all engagement rings sold in the United States, which is the world's biggest diamond market, were set with lab-grown stones. Consumers had voted with their wallets. The monopoly on meaning was officially broken. So how did the giant of the industry, the king of diamonds, respond to this existential threat? Well, as it turns out, a series of really bad strategic mistakes would only make their downfall happen faster. Okay, so first, De Beers tried to just dismiss lab-grown diamonds as fake. When that didn't work, they made a massive mistake. In 2018, they launched their own lab-grown brand called Lightbox. The idea was to flood the market with cheap stones and basically devalue the entire category, make them seem like cheap costume jewelry. But the plan completely backfired. By entering the market themselves, De Beers, the ultimate authority on diamonds, had just legitimized the very product they were trying to kill.
And this huge strategic blunder happened inside a perfect storm. Demand for natural diamonds was already falling in big markets like China, which forced De Beers to start stockpiling unsold gems. At the exact same time, China was becoming a massive production hub for the lab-grown alternative. And Surat, that city in India that had polished De Beers stones for decades, they just adapted and started polishing lab-grown stones instead. Suddenly, every single link in their historic supply chain was turning on them.
The pressure got so intense, it even fractured their most critical partnership. Botswana, the country that supplied almost 70% of De Beers diamonds, started pushing back hard. The country's new president, Duma Boko, openly questioned the whole deal, basically saying, hey, maybe we should just take over and sell these things ourselves. The political foundation of their supply was cracking right under their feet.
The financial fallout came swift and hard. De Beers' owner, the mining giant Anglo-American, started to see the company as a major liability. Then, a hostile takeover bid in 2024 forced them to write off billions from De Beers' value. Finally, in 2025, the decision was made. The once mighty diamond empire was put up for sale, a shadow of its former self, struggling to even find a buyer.
The irony is just, you can't miss it. The company that built a global empire on the slogan, "A diamond is forever," learned the hard way that, in the world of business, maybe nothing is. And all of this leaves us with a really fascinating question. The entire De Beers empire was built on the idea that a diamond's value came from its natural rarity and the story they told about it. But when technology can create a perfect, identical copy for a fraction of the cost, it forces us all to ask, what is value? Is it in the story, the origin, or is it simply in the object itself?